briefly about myself. Now let's talk about today's topic. Thinking about how to name my talk. I kind of, when you look at Trump, it's always kind of he is kind of acting very revengefully, trying to take revenge, both for his personal revenge, but also revenge on behalf of the United States against everyone, against individuals, against states, but also against like whole nations, and which means kind of he is somehow exactly acting opposite to what we usually know as golden rule, do unto others as you would expect them do unto you, but his is opposite, do unto others what they have been doing to you, So this was my kind of starting point, So I want to just highlight the caveat, Of course, I work at Max Narek University, etc., but here, I talk on my personal capacity as a researcher, but also as a kind of engaged and concerned global citizen. And this topic and this presentation, but also some of the speeches I made about Trump since February, and also kind of I published one online text. These are all part of my efforts to make sense of the phenomenon of Trump, first of all, for myself, because it's very complicated, very sophisticated, and a very pervasive phenomenon, and there are so many related things, so I tried to make a clearer sense of this for myself. And the starting point for this presentation is this very stark contrast, between the last days of Trump 1.0, if you remember, he was a president from 2016 to 2020, and if you followed, like especially last year, how the media was covering Trump, during last months of his presidency, you would often read, as we did, some journalistic media accounts, maybe exaggerated, maybe fake, but still, this was part of the narrative that Trump kind of became very disengaged and disinterested in presidential function. They were saying that most of the time in his pajamas, and focused on his phone and tweeting from, day to night or from night to morning. Kind of tired of this presidential kind of function and kind of almost retired, So this was the image I retained, from my own recollections. And then now we have how can we account for this starking contrast, for this kind of paradox. So as you can see, he's very determined. This is the official picture he and his government chose for his official portrait for his 47th presidency. And then this famous or infamous incident where someone tried to assassinate him, but he kind of was saved. So I will do this enterprise, this effort to make sense of Trump in basically 3 big blocks. First of all, let's try to approach analytically, the phenomenon of Trump as an individual, but also Trump 2.0 as a collective phenomenon as a U.S. government today. So Trump, of course, is a hybrid phenomenon. Of course, first of all, he's an individual, and as an individual, the world knows him for several decades now. Because he's always in the news, U.S. news, national news, but also global news, as a transactional, unpredictable, and very successful, as he depicts himself, a deal maker, constantly seeking to maximize opportunities and strike deals that serve his interests. For example, there is his famous saying that his book, The Art of the Deal, is the second most sold book in the world after the Bible. So kind of he represents himself as always as such, quite extraordinary businessman. And then, of course, Trump, even if he's so powerful, so rich, yes, billionaire personality, but he's also today represents a public servant of the United States. Yeah, he represents the United States government. Yeah, but of course, he also has his own kind of features, yeah, distinguishing features as a U.S. president. For example, he's kind of a disruptor president, yes, challenging the traditional norms of United States policy making, both at home and abroad. And he's able to be so challenging and so disrupting because he yields a very strong influence over his MAGA base, but also over the Republican Party. Yeah, for example, Republican Party, they have this convention, yeah, of Republican Party. It's his family who runs it. Yeah, one of, I think, his son's wife is a very high, one of the leading persons who organize the Republican convention. Yeah, but there is also this third aspect of Trump. Yeah, there is this third aspect of Trump. Trump as a project. Yeah, not kind of as if he's coming with his own project, but Trump was kind of co-opted by certain societal, yeah, economic and political forces, yeah, as the ideal candidate to implement a big, great, grand project of reshaping the United States and also rebuilding, recreating the world. Yeah. Here he is seen as a vehicle, as a tool, yeah, for this systemic disruption and reinvention, aiming to transform the American establishment, but also the world. Yeah, so that's why, for example, when you read, accounts of his first presidency, yeah, where many people didn't believe in his, capacity to win the American first primaries, yeah, this within the party, but also the presidential elections. There are some people who kind of converged toward him, and one of such people were Stephen Bannon, who is one of kind of very formidable political strategists in the United States, and who is known for his Breitbart, media planet, yeah, who mostly represents right-wing sentiments, right-wing forces, and so he was the chair of Donald Trump's first presidential campaign. So he came to Donald Trump when he was at his lowest, yeah. But then they say they credit Steve Bannon for helping Trump to win the elections, and because of that, he was also given the function of chief strategic advisor during the first presidency. But then, because of his conflicts with what they call Javanka, yes, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, he was kind of squeezed out of the White House. Yeah, but for Steve Bannon, who is kind of making a crusade, leading a crusade to take America back maybe to its ideal times, yeah, Donald Trump was the ideal candidate. So Trump, yeah, but Trump 2.0, yeah, which means the U.S. government today, or this mix of different forces, yes, which converge and which circulate quite a specific project, yeah. So Trump 2.0, this is a very volatile mix, yes, very unstable, very dangerous condensation of different forces. So key characteristics of this Trump 2.0 is unpredictability, yeah. Both due to his personality, yes, because kind of he kind of says that he makes his deals most advantageous to him by surprising, people he's negotiating with, which means he can switch, positions abruptly, or he can start from very high negotiating positions, but then open the door for, striking a compromise. So there is this unpredictability, yeah? So, for example, we saw this unpredictability in practice, for example, during the first weeks of Trump's second presidency, because, for example, Trump, one of his, campaign narrative was going hard on China, yeah? And so everybody was kind of expecting him to uphold and continue Biden's executive order to ban TikTok, yeah? But the day he became a president, he kind of saved TikTok, yes, from being banned in the United States. Or, for example, and this is a kind of everlasting drama, yeah, the very different kind of insinuations, conspiracy theories about Trump being always friendly to Russia. Yeah, and so everybody was expecting when he would start his second presidency, then he would immediately start, to facilitate Russia's business, yes, globally. But the day he started his presidency, the early days, he kind of adopted, contrary to China, harsher position, yeah, towards Russia. Yeah, and then this Trump 2.0, it's quite a assembly of very opposing, very contradictory forces, programs, agendas. Yes, it's a very sophisticated coalition. Yeah, so we can, there are different ways of categorizing different forces which are around Trump 2.0. There are at least there is this MAGA base, yes, Make America Great Again, who are isolationists, who are mostly kind of what some people also call nativists, yes. They are mostly focused on the US and they want United States to forget about the world and to, to turn inwards. But then there are also techno-oligarchs, yeah. So usually oligarch was as a word reserved for kind of Russian or post-Soviet businessmen. But Biden, during his one of his last speeches, he warned the United States about oligarchs, but this time about American oligarchs. Yes, and most of these people, they made their wealth in new fields like technologies, internet, AI. Yeah, so these techno-oligarchs, they are exemplified by Elon Musk or Zuckerberg or Peter Thiel. And maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more. There are also what people now call dark enlightenment philosophers, yeah, who are kind of anti-democratic people, but very powerful people, yeah. And so Trump too, it's a kind of represents a conflicting coalition, yeah. But then there is also this messianism and exceptionalism, yes, which kind of drives Trump too. And this messianism and exceptionalism, it stems its roots both from Trump's personality, but also from the United States ideology, yeah? Because, like we said, yeah, Trump always presents himself as the most successful, maybe, businessman in the history. He refers to his book as the second most sold book after the Bible. Yeah, so he has his, this mega ambitions, yeah? But the United States also, since from its founding, has always represented itself as an exceptional nation in the world, which was given a special mission by God, yeah, to represent the ideal things, ideal individuals, ideal political systems, etc., etc. And one of missions that United States invented for itself right from the beginning is to promote these ideals of purity, idealism in the world, yeah, and so this, for example, we can again see in action during this Trump 2.0, yeah, like we said, yeah, and he was he survived assassination, so which means it added to his sense of, that being chosen by God, he was saved by God to save American nation. He was saved by God to save the world. Yeah, and he always repeats it. Yeah, and this kind of also contributed to his winning the elections. Yeah, or this thing where he says that TikTok, they should include America in the deal, because if we ban TikTok from the United States, it will become worthless company. But with America inside, it's $1 trillion worth company. Yeah. So it is always this kind of exceptionalism that it is Trump, it is America which generates value and worth. Otherwise, everything is zero. Yeah. And then there is also this unfinished business, yes, which remains both from Trump 1 administration, yes. There are certain, counts to settle with his own personal adversaries. There are also, according to Trump, there are some unfinished businesses from even several decades, yeah. So now let's just about this. Let's focus a little bit longer, yeah, because this is something that we started to talk about more often only recently, yeah, in US, but also in the world, yes. Usually these technologies and also people who made their wealth based on internet, on these new things, they were always seen as, positive phenomenon, positive forces, in the world, yeah, because their inventions like Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, all these things, they really helping the world, yeah. Both it's helping people to get rich, those who, by many different chances, find themselves at the center of these new developments, but also they facilitate our, life in everyday life, yeah. So always we look to them as, positive actors. Unlike, for example, oil magnates or, these people who made their wealth in traditional ways. Yeah? But since recently, people start to refer to them as techno-oligarch, yes? Because this oligarch and billionaire, it's more positive connotation, yeah? Oligarch, it has more kind of negative connotation, yeah? And now we have a group of very wealthy people who are sometimes, usually they are competitors with each other. They are all coalescing around Trump, yeah? Either willingly, like Musk, yeah, who was there from the beginning, or unwillingly, or because they are pushed, because now Trump is a fact, yeah? And so like Zuckerberg or Bezos, yes, now they are kind of quite in line with what Trump wants to do, yeah? And you have this famous picture where during the inauguration you had all these techno-oligarchs lined up, yeah? But now, even more, we see now emerging a phenomenon which is beyond techno-oligarchs, but they are also empowered by these techno-oligarchs, what people call dark enlightenment or new reactionary movement, yeah? So it's also something new for me. Yeah, I'm trying to learn more about them. So there are two intellectual figures always popping up. Yeah, when we talk about dark enlightenment, one is Curtis Yarvin, who is a blogger, Mencius Moldbach. He's kind of a nickname from America, and then philosopher from UK, Nick Land. Yeah, so they have kind of come up with a set of beliefs, theses, and statements. Yes, which overall, altogether, are defined as a far-right anti-democratic movement advocating for a techno-authoritarian or CEO king system instead of democracy. Yeah. And when I was reading about them, one commentary was that, and maybe it's what makes them important and powerful, is we can, like, when we talk about techno-oligarchs, we can immediately affiliate it with Musk or others, yes? We can immediately detect who is this, leader or leading names. But here they are more diffuse, yeah? They don't stand out. They are more kind of horizontal, which makes them maybe challenging to detect, but which also allows them to, infuse their influence through, many different, both smaller and larger platforms. Yeah. So what are their core beliefs? They believe that democracy, as it's practiced in the West, yeah, it's a failed system, and these liberal ideas such as equality, yeah, it's undesirable anymore. And societies should be governed more like corporations, yeah? And they also rely on neocameralism as a vision for governance, which means states, they are not political entities, they are more like companies, and they should be run as companies, yeah? And citizens, they should be seen more as shareholders, yeah? But also, if you have more shares, then you have more vote, more say. If you have less or no say, then you just, you are not significant, yeah? And they have also identified quite a specific and articulate list of their enemies, yeah? So there is a group of public entities, such as universities, media, and liberal think tanks, which they dub as the cathedral, yeah? And then, so this is their enemy, one of their enemies. The second one is a deep state, yeah? And then the third one is this philosophy of Enlightenment liberalism, yeah? I mean, does it ring a bell? Because, when you today look at Trump, yes, what he's doing is he's fighting the universities, yeah? He's kind of going after the media, etc. So we can see the influence of this dark Enlightenment, yeah, ideas in Trump's agenda. And then, so they their ideological lineage, it traces back to Thomas Carlyle, historian, or Julius Evola, one of the big names of European traditionalism, yes, who are more about accepting and working through these hierarchical traditional, structures, both individually, but also on family and on political, societal levels, yeah. But in fact, we say that, look, he's a blogger, he's a kind of not so prominent English philosopher, yeah. But now they are powerful because they have some adepts, yes, some people who really believe in them and who wants to implement their ideas, and these people are quite powerful people, yeah, like Elon Musk or Peter Thiel or J.D. Vance, vice president, yes, who happen to retweet and promote some of ideas taken from this dark enlightenment. And so people today, we talk a lot about DOGE, yes, DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is all about going after public servants, cutting, yeah, and, kicking them out. And people, they make parallels between DOGE and RAGE, which was coined by Curtis Yarvin, retire all government employees, yeah? Which means states shouldn't have public servants. So RAGE and DOGE, you can't avoid making parallels between these two, yeah? And so, like I said, they are today quite powerful because they exercise their influence through MAGA base, through Trumpism, tech libertarianism, and even people like J.D. Vance, yes, politically powerful people, they are fans of this ideology. And many people, they see them as dangerous. Yes, we can already see consequences of these ideas put into practice, but especially this transhumanism, yes. So many people like Fukuyama or other philosophers, they don't see transhumanism as something good for humanity, yeah? Because it can open ways for technological dictatorship, yes, where people, like in, these dystopian films, we will be just ruled by robocops, yeah? So how is this working, this volatile mix? Yeah. On one hand, we are quite impressed, yeah, by kind of, some revolutionary steps taken by Trump to administration. Yes, every day we hear about the big decision taken by, Trump too, or his, government people. Yeah. But on the other hand, because it represents a very volatile coalition, which is unstable and which is itself kind of contradictory within itself, yeah. Because, for example, Elon Musk, he's a globalist, yeah, and he thinks not only in terms of U.S. or the world. He thinks in planetary terms. Yes, he is making plans for Mars, for example. Yeah, while MAGA, yeah, Make America Great Again, they are more nativist. They only think about American inwards. Yeah, of course, when you put these two together, there are some frictions. There are some tensions. Yeah, so here are some consequences where this volatility, is kind of erupts into the open. So first of all, about this revengeful behavior. Yeah, with kind of Trump is kind of it seemed that he is always kind of trying to take revenge on some people. Yeah, even if during his final run, during the elections, he said that, I forget about all my problems during the first presidency. I will not go after people who prosecuted me. I will not go after my rivals, etc. So this was his election promise. Yeah. But since he started his second presidency, he's kind of a little bit, reneging on that promise. Yeah. So this is from an article, yeah, which appeared, I think, yesterday on Reuters. Someone kind of tried to count how many times Trump tried to take revenge, on his personal or political enemies. So here just, kind of different examples. For example, he is using executive orders, yes, to kind of to go after, for example, law firms, yes, who some, like lawyers, usually they defend people who pay them, yeah? And sometimes lawyers, same lawyer, can at different times defend opposing fractions because they are paid and that's their job, yeah? And people understand that, and they don't go after the lawyers. But Trump is now taking executive orders where he names specific law firms by saying that all their government contracts should be canceled. All their clearances to access some confidential information needed for their job, for their cases should be canceled, etc., etc. Yeah, or even he canceled the security clearances of Biden, Obama, Bolton, etc. Yeah, who are usually given some kind of privileged access because they have exercised the highest function, yes, in a U.S. government, and that's a tradition. Yeah, but Trump kind of cut them from these privileges. Yeah, and also sometimes he has public spats with governors. Yeah, and then he threatens them with funding public cuts. Also, universities, take an example of universities. Yes, he is kind of both public but also private, like Harvard. Yes, threatening and effectively cutting their support from the state. Yeah, so we can see this revengeful behavior, and it is here more examples. But more, maybe importantly, and for us, for the for the common people, it's we love watching dramas, yeah. Before on TV, but today on Twitter and on Instagram or on X, yeah. And so recently, and as you can see, most of them, they oppose Musk with different planets of Trump to galaxy, yeah. So there is this, one of the latest one, Elon Musk versus Peter Navarro, yeah. Peter Navarro, who is now chief economic advisor to Trump, yeah, and it was Peter Navarro who is the author of the idea of tariffs on everyone, these Liberation Day tariffs. Yeah? And Elon Musk didn't like his approach because Elon Musk has business interest in China. And Elon Musk's mother, yeah, he's quite a public figure in China. She goes often there, makes tours, gives public talks, etc., etc. And so they basically, fell apart on the issue of tariffs. Yeah, and Musk publicly insulted Navarro using his X platform. Yeah, he called him moron. Yeah, he called him dumber than a sack of bricks. Yeah, so these are the real words used by Musk. And then Peter Navarro, he also kind of replied, yeah, to Musk by calling him just a car assembler, yeah, because Musk is very proud of his Tesla enterprise, yes, but for Peter Navarro, what Musk is doing, just like what Chinese are doing, just assembling the cars, yeah, and Chinese are doing better today, yeah. But at the end, it is for the time being kind of Navarro who won, yeah, because Trump adopted and published these tariffs on every state, and even uninhabited islands, yeah, too, yeah. Even if then he made a 90-day pause, yeah, kind of. But the tension is very clear and unavoidable, yeah. Earlier, in fact, December, January, there was another public fight opposing Musk to even more formidable players in Trump galaxy. This is Steve Bannon. Yeah, we said Steve Bannon is the person who was a mastermind of Trump's first presidential victory, and he also contributed substantially to his second election victory. Yeah. So here the idea again, the problem was about HB1 visas. Yeah. I don't know many people. Maybe you saw on Instagram this Japanese kind of futurologist who is saying that HB1 visas are America's super weapon. Yeah. Why? Because America is able to lure global talent into the United States by this visa, and that makes America a formidable power in the world. Yeah. But for Steve Bannon, for MAGA, that's not the case. Yeah, they don't like it, and so they wanted, to abolish this kind of privileges. And here again, Musk was kind of for upholding these visas, but also Vivek, yeah, another billionaire who's now part of this Trump's political planet, and then Steve Bannon. And Steve Bannon, yeah, who is anti-immigrant, he called Elon Musk as parasitic illegal immigrant, yeah? And so the fight is going on. And then again, another example, it's again on the same issue, Elon Musk versus Laura Loomer, yeah, who is one of rising stars of American right, who is again very nationalist, and she was seen, kind of on social media by going and joining and supporting these neo-Nazi, demonstrations on the streets. So another example of this volatility, and so again, this is just, I think this appeared yesterday or 2 days ago. So Trump, like the Financial Times, yes, very important platform, yeah, for the current global elites, yeah. They have published an article on Trump's The Art of the Retreat. Yes, not Art of the Deal, but Art of the Retreat, where, Trump always starts with a very strong positions, threatens to destroy everything, but at the last moment, he always retreats and kind of tries to go for a compromise. Yeah, it is again for this Liberation Day tariffs. Yes, kind of he imposed first kind of 25% and then 145% tariffs on China, and then when he saw that that was not working and that was kind of damaging the American society and companies, then he said, okay, let's make a pause like 90 days and we'll settle down during these 90 days. Or he threatened to make resign Federal Reserve's chairman But then when people from his own camp said, no, that's not a good idea, he said, okay, like I didn't want to kind of fire him anyway. Yeah. So the Financial Times defines this as Trump's art of the retreat. Yeah. But then Financial Times warns that even if it's seen as something kind of, temporary, yeah, but in the long term, when you repeatedly engage in such actions, the damage to America, both for citizens, for companies, but also for political forces, will be lasting. Yeah, so you cannot engage in such kind of, bluffing and such kind of strategies all the time. Now let's talk a little bit about Trump and foreign policy. Yeah. So there is this Agenda 47. This is the official agenda of Trump campaign published during the election. So this is kind of a set of an ensemble of his promises, yes, to do in the field of foreign policy and defense. And Project 2025. Have you heard about Project 2025? Yeah. In fact, Project 2025, it's a very controversial document. It's available on internet. It's almost 1,000 page long, very sophisticated, very professional kind of program. Yeah, political, economic program. Yeah. And it was published by Heritage Foundation, which is a long, like a traditional established right-wing think tank in the United States, Heritage Foundation. And during the elections leading, to Trump's election, the liberal camp were accusing Trump as they were saying that, look, we can know what Trump wants to do. It's all written in Project 2025, and the things written there, they're not good for America. Yeah, and Trump was saying that, oh, I never heard about Project 2025. I have nothing to do with them. It's not my program. It's not my platform. So Trump always wanted to kind of separate and detach himself from Project 2025. Yeah. But today we can see there are a lot of overlaps, yeah. And here I just put the things which concern foreign policy and defense, yeah. But before that, in fact, Trump's consistency in foreign policy, yeah. During his first presidency in 2016, yeah, Washington Post kind of looked back through the archives. And they published an article, 100 times Trump said that the world was laughing at America and the world was abusing America. And so one of the first references was in 1987, yes, almost 40 years ago, when Trump was still a businessman. It is usually when, because he was invited as a group of American businessmen to Soviet Union. After he returned from Soviet Union trip, he paid publicity advertisement in all major newspapers of America, and where he kind of criticized the American establishment. And one of his criticisms was that these United States political elites, both from Republican and Democratic parties, yes, they were all doing the same things, and they were all letting the world abuse the United States. Yes, so this is from his advertisement on newspapers from 1987. The world is laughing at America's politicians as we protect ships we don't own, carrying oil we don't need. They stand for allies who won't help. Yeah, and all these things you can see also during his first presidency. Yeah. So, for example, when Trump became president, one of the first things to do was to cancel United States-South Korea free trade agreement. Yeah, because he was saying that why we are allowing South Koreans to take advantage of American market, and he was also asking why we are paying every year $3.5 billion to maintain American bases, military bases in South Korea. They should pay for us. If they don't pay, I will cancel the U.S.-South Korea free trade area. Yeah, and as you can see, he repeatedly voiced his concern about U.S. being abused by the world, and he continues it to our days. Yeah. So in 2022, European Council on Foreign Relations kind of provided a kind of a systematic analysis of different groups within Trump's foreign policy establishment, who were all working together and part of this Trump coalition, but each of them also had their own distinct, positions about how the U.S. should deal with the world. Yeah, and this ECFR, they have referred to them as tribes and identified them as three separate tribes. Yes, you have restrainers who are more nativist, MAGA isolationist, who say the U.S. shouldn't care about the world. Yeah, U.S. should concentrate on itself, and this is right from the beginning. Yes, because I teach in theories of IR, and then, for example, in one of our courses, we read an article published in 1947 by Hans Morgenthau, who himself gives, the federalist conception of American foreign policy, which says that America has a unique government style in the world. Yeah, because they ran away from Europe, from these religious and other fundamentalisms. They came to, American lands, and they were able to build their own idealistic society. And they call this unique human experiment in human history. And then they always say that our main mission should be to safeguard, and to protect this unique human experiment. And the only way we can protect American unique government style is to keep away from the world. Because if we deal more with Europe, if we again go back, then they will corrupt us again. So that's why we should always isolate ourselves, and we are lucky because geographically and otherwise we have unique also advantages. Yes, so it is possible. So these restrainers, they are more this continuation of this federalist tradition, yes, which is traced back to the original founding moment of the United States, and that's why, for example, Ukraine, they say, we feel sympathy for them. Yeah, but that's not our fight. Yes, let Europe, let Ukraine themselves to sort it out. Yeah, or for NATO, they say why we should continue paying for for European defense. Yeah, and they are represented by people like Rand Paul, yes, a powerful senator, Mike Lee, Steve Bannon, or Richard Grenell, who is now ambassador for special missions of Trump. Or J.D. Vance, yes, who is American vice president, or, for example, Wesley Hunt, very young senator. And today, if you followed, everybody is talking about Pete Hegseth, Trump's minister of defense, yes, who is now on the line of fire. And maybe he will be forced to resign because of many different mistakes he made, including sharing military intelligence with his family on Signal chats, yeah. And now everybody is talking about Wesley Hunt. Maybe he would be the ideal candidate to replace Pete Hegseth. Yeah. And then the second one, these are prioritizers, yes, which means they know that America should maintain its own style, but also they are aware that you are living in a global world. So you have to do some kind of business with the world, yeah. But just enough to keep American advantages, and also just enough to keep American kind of, primacy or American geostrategic, advantages. And so that's why they are kind of in the middle, yeah. When needed, they say we should go hard against Russia or against China, but when needed, we should be open to deal, to compromises with them. And today, people like Elbridge Colby, they represent, according to ECFR, these restrainers. In fact, Elbridge Colby he is quite discussed in foreign policy circles because he has just gotten approval for his nomination as one of high-ranking officials within the Ministry of Defense, yeah, and he's known for his articulation of some policy shifts. For example, he wants United States to kind of retreat or to reduce its commitments both vis-a-vis Europe but also vis-a-vis Israel, yeah, and to recenter and refocus American efforts on Asia Pacific, yeah, because for Elbridge Colby and many people, the most important high-stake things are happening in Asia Pacific, and American commitments to Europe and American commitment to Israel, they are more explained by history rather than by today's realities, and so America should make necessary policy shifts. And because of that, he was kind of quite protested both by people from within the Republican Party, but he just got approved after long, tries. Yeah. And then there are primacists who are all about, they are reminiscent. They remind us about these neocons during the Bush administration, those who say America is a global superpower, America should care about all the world, America should be intervening actively in every corner of the world to go after its enemies, yeah? And people like Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, Mike Pence, yes, they are kind of represent, and they were quite powerful during Trump 1 administration, and they are all struck out, yes, by Trump, yeah? So, I don't know if it's possible to circulate these slides, yeah? So if you are interested, I can pass it on. So just here, maybe this overlap, like Trump always wanted to detach itself from Project 2025, saying that I have nothing to do with them, yeah? But today we can see that there is quite an overlap between Project 2025 and Agenda 47, and here just, in terms of foreign policy and NATO, yeah, while Project 2025 pledged a tough stance on China, but they also kind of pleaded for supporting Ukraine and not closing NATO, but to pushing NATO partners to shoulder more of the burden, yeah. Here, Trump 2.0, they kept and adopted this isolationist tone, skeptical of NATO, but here they differ from Project 2025 by being vague on Ukraine. Yeah? And on China, while Project 2025 called for total end to engagement with China, decoupling, yeah, this famous concept, today, Trump is protectionist, favors tariffs, and kind of pleads also decoupling, but the reality, makes it impossible at current time. Yeah. Here again, we can see that in terms of implementation, most of the policy recommendation given in Project 2025, they are all partially or totally implemented except Ukraine. Yeah, except Ukraine. And because of that, for example, we have today experts who are kind of talking about revolutionary shifts in US foreign policy. And Carnegie, who is liberal, yes, who is a liberal, kind of they are anti-Trump, they have published in March kind of 10 revolutions that Trump made in foreign policy, including isolationism, withdrawing support from UN, from multilateralism, and then kind of making wedge between US and Europe, etc., etc. Yeah. So, can this volatility continue beyond 100 days? I just saw it, when I was coming here, The Economist, yeah, if you can check on their Instagram profile, but also their today's, page was about like that, yeah. So they pictured a wounded eagle, yeah, with a lot of bandages. And then there was a question mark, 1,361 days, which means can this last for 1,361 days more? Yeah? Or will US politics return to normal and kind of find a balance between this new force, which is here to stay? Yes, this MAGA force, Dark Enlightenment force, they will not disappear, but they will stay here, but they have to kind of make a compromise with existing establishment. Yeah, and here there are some factors which says maybe balance will be kind of will come back. Yeah, just yesterday, Pew Research Center, they have published very detailed results of polls they conducted from 5 April to 13th April. Yes. Which covers American citizens representing both Republicans and Democrats, where you can see, in fact, American citizens, including Republicans, they are starting to get worried about consequences of Trump to zero actions. Yes, especially in economy and in trade. Yeah, so here are just some results of these polls. For example, everybody likes Trump's action, on immigration. Yeah, like as you see, most liked actions they are immigration and Trump's governance style, signature governance style, and reducing government tariffs. Yeah, but you can see this DOGE, yeah, going after public servants, but also tariffs, trades. They also invite the most reprehension from American citizens. And especially his style is also most dividing. And it's the same here. People are more confident on Trump's actions on immigration, but they are more and more worried on Trump's action in economy and trade. Yeah. And so, as you can see, these three policy actions, such as cuts to federal departments and agencies, this Musk's action, and increasing tariffs, and these actions to end DEI, diversion, equality, and inclusion, they are meeting the highest disapproval from citizens. And it's the same, as you can see, people's worries about economic future of America is also, even between February and April, changed a lot, and people are more and more worried about economic future of America. And including Republicans, people say if Trump continues to promote and propose positions which are different from Republican Party, then Republican senators, Republican congressmen, they shouldn't align with Trump, but they should stick to Republican lines. Yeah? And also, people think that if Trump goes against courts, courts should prevail. Yeah? Trump should listen to the court. Yeah? So as you can see, kind of, there are some elements which may open the door for reflection that maybe kind of in domestic policies, Trump will recalibrate and go back to not normal, but still, to make a compromise. It's the same with global balance. Yeah. So Foreign Affairs, a very influential journal, review, yes, which is written for and read by elites and policymakers. Yeah. So they have published in their most recent issue several articles which kind of disapprove, Trump's ideas. Yeah. So one of it was about saying that, look, everybody says Trump will go to war against China and others, but we see that more and more Trump is kind of getting less in favor of great power competition and more in favor of great power concert. Which means Trump, he says, I'm powerful, I'm beautiful, I'm smart. And he also says, like Putin, Xi, and others, they're also smart, and they know I'm smart. And they say, we three, four together, we can manage the world together. Yeah, instead of making war, let's make business, let's make deals. Yeah, like with Russia during this Ukraine-Russia peace talks. Yes, they already started to talk about some deals with Russia. Yeah, so foreign affairs talks about the weakening of great power competition and maybe emergence of great power concert, like in 19th century. In fact, that's also kind of, I don't know if you know, we have very influential Russian thinker, strategic thinker, influential advisor, Sergei Karaganov. Yeah, he says, in fact, we want 19th century European balance of power, but it would be difficult to go back, but ideally it would be going back to 19th century where big powers will dictate to smaller powers how to behave. Yeah, this is also seems to be close to what Trump wants. The second one is now Europeans are thinking about how to live in Trump's world or how to live without Trump. Yeah, so this is just a summary of Niger Woods, a professor at Oxford, who speculates about different ways of neutralizing Trump's influence. Yeah, by, for example, Europeans coming together and making more efforts. Yeah, or Chinese ascendants kind of neutralizing and filling in the void left by the United States, etc., etc. Yeah, so we have seen some elements that domestically Trump maybe will go back to reason, and also some, global factors which may push him, to go to a middle ground. Yeah, at the end, yes, let's talk about Central Asia. But what do you think? Let's just, do you think all these things that we talked about concern Central Asia or not? And is this a good thing or not? Who can tell me their own opinion?
I'd like to share my opinion from two perspectives. First one is from the perspective of education, because we know that in Central Asia we had a very good US program, US aid, sponsoring all the talented students, both school students and university students, to get their education abroad, particularly in the US. But after, I don't know, like 2 days or around a week after his election, he just, they left Central Asia. USAID left Central Asia, and many talented students just lost their scholarships and opportunities to grow. And from the economic perspective, we all depend on dollar, and we all saw how much is it volatile, and all these changes in currency exchanges.
Thank you, Professor. Firstly, I want to talk about volatility psychology, because it's Trump's second term. It's all about volatility, as you said. And because Central Asia countries such as Kazakhstan, we consider us as a stable country that could build a relationship with giants like China and Russia. And it is in our interest to build relationships with big countries. Then I think that volatility from Trump is, of course, bad for us, because we don't know what to predict from his actions and policy. So that's all.
Thank you for your very useful remarks. Yeah. So in fact, USA somehow it kind of influences us. But if you compare Central Asian kind of state to, let's say, to the situation that Ukraine finds itself under Trump, or to Palestine, kind of finds itself under Trump, yes, because there things changed completely and not to their advantage, even kind of these tragedies, they're kind of being, amplified. Compared to them, it's as if we are just watching it from a distance, and there are sometimes there is this kind of eruptions of this, Trumpian drama into our Central Asian realities, like USAID, or like these tariff wars, where suddenly Kazakhstan found itself imposed 27% of trade tariffs. Yes, but except from that, it's as if we are just watching things unfold. Yeah, so. The following slides are based on my just online article, that I published in February about this Trump and Central Asia dilemmas of deeper engagement. First of all, the starting point. Yes, Trump, he is 47th president today. And so. Compared to 46, but for us, of course, the last 30 years, yes, did he bring an immediate change, or U.S. Central Asia, are they just following kind of a logic of continuity? In fact, because for the last 30 years, U.S. Central Asia relationships, they have been kind of course, each president like Obama, Bush, or Biden, or Trump, they have their, changes depending their personality, their alliances, their coalitions. But overall, the U.S. Central Asia relationship kind of followed quite a stable and traditional logic, which means United States and Central Asia, they have a good, very positive engagement, and especially for Central Asia, it's very substantial, very important. But if you compare to U.S. engagement with other regions, and for the U.S. it is not that important, but still they also have loyal, kind of attitude and friendly attitude towards Central Asia. And usually there are these three things, economically, especially in oil and energy sectors, especially in Kazakhstan, U.S. was among the early and stable and sustainable investors, Security-wise, they sometimes their interest focus hiked, like during global war on terror, Afghanistan operations, but then it dwindled down, but still they kind of help, and there is some kind of counterterrorism, intelligence, and other cooperation taking place in the background, And also in terms of politically, U.S. always says, we always support these countries' political independence, territorial sovereignty, and political the sovereignty. And our countries also always refers to U.S. as a very important actor in the world, that they always want to have good and even better relations every time. And this didn't change much, over across different administrations, And so Trump won when he inherited from Obama. He didn't change much, And it continued under Biden. And even today, even if Trump announced a lot of change in different regions, Europe, Middle East, etc., they still haven't, articulated any kind of position on Central Asia directly, There has only been some ministerial, this diplomatic etiquette, courtoisie calls between the Mark Rubio and our foreign ministers. There were some visits by Uzbek foreign minister, by Kazakh foreign minister into the United States, but that's all. And things kind of continuing, as they were today. So, and also we are watching, kind of from a distance, what is going on in different regions. So that's why we can we may talk about benign irrelevance, but as a good thing, yeah, especially irrelevance for United States of Central Asia, and I think it's a positive factor, at least for the time being, yeah, because Central Asia holds little immediate importance and value for Trump too, both personally and institutionally, yeah. Because Trump, as a businessman, he always looking after huge deals. Yeah, if you remember, like he was, there is a thing with Saudi Arabia by saying that, Saudi Arabia is engaged in Trump to invest $600 billion in American economy. Yeah, or there is this famous press, appearance between Trump and this Japanese SoftBank's owner, the billionaire, Japanese billionaire, who usually invests in emerging tech sectors, and Matoshima, or someone. So, and he was saying that with Trump, he was saying that, okay, I will invest $100 billion, and then Trump saying double that, and then okay, $200 billion. Yeah, so Trump is after such deals, and we cannot offer such deals, to Trump, Or also, Trump, he cares about his, personal image and also legacy. And many different biographies and journalists, they talk about his obsession for Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, and so he wants to make big peace deals. Yeah, so Abrahamic, accords. Which he started during his first presidency, and now he's again talking, about it, where he would be able to make this global accord between Christian, Jewish, and Muslim, not just countries, but civilizations, so that he would be entitled to a Nobel Peace Prize. Or his, these things, I will finish the war in Ukraine in a day. Yeah, and so as such, our conflicts or our tensions cannot offer him Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, so you have this kind of relative irrelevance of Central Asia, and also a limited economic interest. Yeah. And also ideologically, yes, because for MAGA immigrants, etc., or these Muslim immigrants, we don't appear much in their image of what an immigrant is. We don't appear much in their image of a threat, a country representing a threat. Yeah. So because of that, maybe we are not directly, appearing in Trump 2's executive orders or policy actions, even if we can become and find ourselves collateral victims of Trump's larger, policy actions, such as USA aid, because USA aid, it is this both from efficiency action, this Trump. Why should U.S. continue paying, for other peoples to study, to etc.? Because in America, they believe in humans' own efforts. Yes, no one should help you. You should help yourself. Yeah, you shouldn't be just abusing other people's generosity. But also USA as representing this liberal mindset, which is dark enlightenment and others, who want to uproot all this liberal institution from the United States. And so Central Asia was not their concern, but somehow we find ourselves, impacted by that, or this liberal order, weakening of UN, and then when Trump says, I should acquire Canada, I should acquire Greenland, etc., even if we are far away, we're not concerned, but the principle of these big powers starting again to invade other countries, it's not good for us. So we are collateral victims of broader policy shifts going on under Trump. So this irrelevancy, it can be seen. I use this grok to ask what are the most important topics which pop up on X when people talk about U.S. Central Asia relations. As you can see, the only thing is mostly related to China and Russia. People talk most often about Central Asia when they discuss U.S.-Russia, U.S.-China relationships. And in a lesser manner, but also quite importantly, when they talk about geoeconomic discussions, Central Asia is popping up, especially critical raw materials or critical rare earths, all these things at one time. And again, it was coming from Americans who were studying Central Asia, and so they have to kind of prove their relevance for their funders, for their think tanks, for their policymakers. So they are trying to come up with this narrative that Central Asia may help China, may help US to break its dependence on China for rare earths and critical raw materials. Yeah, and so here in geoeconomical, also people talking a lot about that. But all other things, as you see, security or regional connectivity or human rights and political reforms, they are talked less often. Yeah. There was this puzzle that we were discussing with our colleagues at the university. How comes, we all almost in the same situation with respect to US, all Central Asian countries, but Kazakhstan was imposed 27%, but all other Central Asian countries were subjected to generic 10% tariff. Yeah, but here again, it's just economy, because United States trade with majority of Central Asian countries like Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, it's not existent. Yeah, as you can see, U.S. bilateral trade, import, export combined together with Kyrgyzstan or Turkmenistan, it's kind of about 10 million or 6 million US dollars, which is nothing. Yeah, but with Kazakhstan and mostly its energy, yeah, $3.4 billion in 2024, according to United States Trade Representative Office. Yeah, and Uzbekistan just is kind of interactions, trade relations with US growing, yeah, and it is almost 500 million US dollars according to the last year's numbers. But here again, it's here most Uzbekistan importing from the United States, yeah, which means United States has a positive trade balance with Uzbekistan, but with Kazakhstan, United States has negative trade balance, yeah, and in fact. This 27%, in fact, was usually people say reciprocal trade tariffs. Kind of, it's as if when you listen to it, it's as if Kazakhstan was imposing 27%, and now US is also imposing back 27%. That's not the case. In fact, this percentages, 27% and all others, they were calculated according to the Peter Navarro's formula, which many people find strange, and Musk called Navarro as a moron and stupid. Yeah, it was all about this trade balance. Yes, so they just take a U.S. trade deficit and then divide it by U.S. imports from a given country, and so that's why when you take and calculate these numbers, you have about 53-54%, and they divide it by 2, and you have the number. Yeah. So, in this case, just what a way forward, yeah, in this text, I saw this strategically it's relevant, but this immediate irrelevance of Central Asia and lacking of Central Asia in these big battles that Trump is starting in his first 100 days, it's a good thing for Central Asia, yeah. What Central Asia should do, of course, Central Asia should continue its multi-vector diplomacy and trying to increase its engagement with US, with China, with everyone, but especially with US, how they should do it. And my opinion was that they are good at doing it, yeah, because Trump, what he expects this respect, honor, tradition, and it's in our culture, yeah, to give respect to everyone, yeah, this differential diplomacy, yeah, and I think this is something that our governments, but also our society can do well, yeah, and also maybe not large, but even small, but still quid pro quo, yeah, deals with Trump administration. This also we can do. So that's why if you see the signaling, the different signals sent out by our governments, For example, because US is now very concerned about this critical critical raw materials, yes, or rare earths. And then just a week or 10 days ago, there was news in Kazakhstan that Kazakhstan has found a very large deposit, yeah, of critical raw materials, yeah, and so kind of signaling, let's make a deal, yeah. It's same if you listen to Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev in different business forums, etc. He says we have a lot of critical raw materials, and we are open to do business with Europe, with US, with Russia, with everyone. This kind of quid pro quo deals. It's also, I think, already going on, and it's which will continue. But then there are these kind of unexpected ways of beyond Trump, yeah, Trump too, of increasing our engagement with American society, American state, yeah, and American people. This is this horizontal U.S.-Central Asia relations. If you follow different news, like every year we have these remittances, yes, the migrant workers sending money home, and this is very important because we have these two indicators where you have some transfer of wealth from rich countries to poor countries. One is what we call development assistance, yes, where rich people, rich states, they give money to poor countries, but in reality they don't give money. Yeah, they pay their own consultants to go and give some advice, and then they write it as giving money to them, but it's just changing the pockets. Yeah. And then there is second one is remittances, where there is transfer of wealth from rich countries to poor countries. And I think 2 years ago, for the first time in history, global amount of remittances, it was bigger than the global amount of development assistance. Yeah, which means, in fact, it also shows the real truth that every government's the biggest richness, biggest wealth, it's people. Yeah. So you should always invest and care and work for your people, yeah. And so, I think in March, yeah, where there was a statistics of remittances going to Uzbekistan was published, America was number 3, yeah. Number 1 was Russia. A lot of Uzbeks, living, working in, and it's usually 8 and more billions. Number 2 was Kazakhstan, about billion, yeah. And number 3 was United States, more than $500 million transferred from US to Uzbekistan, and most of it, yeah, Uzbek migrant workers. So you have now these horizontal ties now, which are real, and they exist between the United States and Uzbekistan, United States and Kazakhstan. You have a lot of Kazakhs, Uzbeks, yes, who are making plans, businesses, in US pursuing their American dream, yeah? And of course they will never be detached from their home countries, and which will increase the links between two societies, and then educational initiatives as well, yeah? Which means even if this Trump to volatility, etc., will affect US-Central Asia relations, and sometimes it can damage it, sometimes it can improve it, but these horizontal ties, yes, will be an alternative, also real, channels through which we can, continue, yeah, these ties, even if just like last week again, now Uzbek immigrants, Kazakh immigrants, yeah, they are also invited by Trump to go back to their home countries, yeah. So it's always kind of, there is this unpredictability, and also there is this dilemma. Yeah. So I finish here. Sorry for I'm a professor. Yes, we are used to talk a lot, so I talked a lot. But I hope it was somehow useful. Thank you for your attention. So open to questions or remarks.